Excuse me.
Was after Santa Fe High School.
Sit down. You're out of line and an embarrassment.
It was after El Paso.
Sit down and don't play.
The next shooting is right now, and you're doing nothing.
Yeah, there you have it. Texas gubernatorial candidate Beto O'Rourke completely derailing a news conference where a community rocked by tragedy was gathered for important updates. And here's how some in the media reacted.
And if that's how they treat Beto O'Rourke, who was a member of Congress, now running for governor, to wonder what's going on down there.
This seems something very clearly staged by Beto O'Rourke and his campaign.
Joe Concha, Fox News contributor, joins us now. Joe, as for Janet Shamley and the reporter's comments there, she was referencing the fact that she saw seat fillers there right before that press conference. As soon as the press conference started, those seat fillers left.
Yeah.
Beto O'Rourke came in and filled in the seat from the seat fillers and then was ready to go, so he didn't draw attention previous to drawing attention. As for Nicole Wallace's comments, as for Beto O'Rourke's outburst, why does the left and the media think that now is the proper time to politicize this, just moments after this massacre?
There is no proper time, right, given what happened. If you look up the definition of desperate in the dictionary, Todd and Carly, there's Beto O'Rourke's photo. He ran for Senate in Texas and lost, and then he ran for president and somehow was deemed as a potential front runner for the Democratic nomination, and he failed craptastically. And now he's running for governor, and he will lose by a country mile per every poll in Texas. So now he takes this press conference and makes it about himself. Because he sees what's happening in terms of his own candidacy and knows that he has to do something, anything, to turn things around. So he politicizes this, of all things. And this is the same person who called not only for stopping border wall construction in Texas, but said we should tear all existing border walls down, which means bringing drugs in this country. Fentanyl is infinitely easier, which is killing young adults at an unprecedented rate. So take 2 seats here, Beto, because this is about you and not about what happened to those children, elementary school kids. I have elementary school kids. Trust me, I haven't slept in 3 days, when this happened earlier this week.
Yeah, I understand your passion, and Beto O'Rourke has definitely flip-flopped on the gun issue, too. He was saying we're going to take away our AR-15s, and now that he's running for governor, he said, no, we're not. We want to support the Second Amendment, and then he interrupts this press conference at the worst possible time, making an absolute fool of himself. We also have to get to this. Former President Obama is getting heat for this tweet that he posted, and some people are saying that he's linking 2 tragedies together in a very odd way. He wrote, as we grieve the children of Uvalde today, we should take time to recognize that 2 years have passed since the murder of George Floyd under the knee of a police officer. His killing stays with us all to this day, especially those who loved him. And then you have Ben Shapiro tweeting, what in the world does the former have to do with the latter? Andy No saying, I don't understand the connection. Joe, how do you feel about this?
I know I'm supposed to give analysis here, but I really have no words. What utter classlessness from the former president to somehow don't link anything to what happened to these kids down in Texas, particularly what happened in Minneapolis, where no one would ever defend what that police officer did to George Floyd. But what does that have to do with these kids being executed by this madman? Let's talk about solutions, can we, please? All right, here's the bottom line. Almost every school shooter, okay, when you look at Sandy Hook, when you look at what happened in Texas, when you look at what happened even in Buffalo, which wasn't a school shooting, but at the same time, they all seem to have something in common, don't they? That most of these shooters are under 21 years old, right? Most of them are students themselves, probably in high school. Maybe if we're talking about solutions, we talk about putting former police officers, former military, or even existing police officers who are on desk duty, and they could do their desk duty from a school, right? Because you have the technology. You don't have to be in a building anymore to do work that you have to get done. Do that, put them at the front of every school where one entrance, one in, one out, right? And then from there, maybe if you want to talk about compromise on who gets a gun, maybe we talk about you don't get one until you're 21. If you can't get a drink, then you can't get a gun until you're 21, because these shooters are all, not all, but many of them are under 21. And then maybe we can have a conversation about how you stop these things from happening. And there's Barack Obama exploiting this for God knows what reason. He's supposed to be the great communicator. I'm sorry. I don't even know what to say in this at this point, guys.
Yeah, total miss by the former president. It means I'm
strange.
Yeah.
Quickly on this last one, amid this Texas horrible massacre, Bette Midler getting in on the act, tweeting that protesters should, quote, come armed to the NRA's annual convention. There's the tweet right there. Seems like she's auditioning for The View, Joe. Your reaction to these comments?
She would be perfect right next to Joy Behar, right? I could completely see that. It's Bette Midler, right? Her Twitter feed is her life now at this point. The Wind Beneath My Wings is a long time ago. Johnny Carson signed off on the Tonight Show. I think it was 30 years ago this week, and she was the person who serenaded him. And you're like, wow, Bette Midler, we got to love her. Now she's become this person. Again,
It's a shame.
I don't even know what to say at this point, that people are exploiting this the way they are. I'm sorry.
Understood. Joe, thank you for joining us this morning. See you tomorrow.
All right, guys.
Thanks,
Sorry.
Jim. No,
Talk
understood.
to you tomorrow.
No,
Bye.
you're the best. We love you and understand. All right.
Subscribe to the Fox News YouTube channel to catch our nightly opens, stories that are changing the world and changing your life. From Tucker Carlson tonight.